Slap. 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 It doesn't know. Or it's enjoying it. One of the two. Hello everybody, and welcome to a very dark Infinite IKEA. Because I have a bit of a mission. We have a couple of missions for today, but this one is going to be a bit of a short one. And the idea is that this game has had a couple of patches between us playing. And one of those was a patch note that said, increased backrooms enemy health. Now I wasn't aware that there was backrooms enemies, so this got me thinking. Maybe with the recent patch we now have backrooms enemies, or maybe I was lucky enough to avoid backrooms enemies. So we're going to go back in and check. Now loading saves does kind of like restart all your kind of wall progress and everything, so we're going to have to go back in there and chop down all the walls again. But in the daytime that I was waiting for night, I managed to craft this sledgehammer, which should hopefully give us a bit more destructive power for getting into the room itself. Although it doesn't seem to be helping too much, to be honest. Ah, perfect. Cool. So I believe it was in this tiny little bit here. Nice. And we are in. So I don't really know what we're going to expect. We saw the GIF of some form of weird, naked, mole rat type entity that had a kind of Slender Man effect. So whether that will be the one that is in or not remains to be seen. But I can only assume that they appear at night. So that will be that. Played with the phones yesterday. Or last episode. So hopefully we don't need to do that today. Really, we just want to find a creature if one exists. And try our best to memorize the route that we are taking. So it's not just complete hell. But maybe, you know, it would be lore friendly for you to only be attacked once you've lost your way. And I'll admit, I'm doing a good job of it so far, so maybe we shall see. We have our second base that we made at the end of this thing, in like the back corner, so maybe that's something we can go back to. And maybe the monster spawns in a very specific location. So if it hasn't kind of connected to the main section here, then we're never going to find it. Possibly. And of course, there's the possibility that there isn't a monster. The patch didn't bring one in. So you never know. I thought it would be best to have a sledgehammer as well if the backrooms enemy, whatever it may be, has increased health. Then I want to be prepared for that. We don't really have the materials or the resources to create the other weapons. So we have to kind of make do with what we have here. And the strongest of those that I could come up with was the sledgehammer. We go through here. We can get 3 in 1 with this hammer. And there's the other two. Cool. And we come up immediately with another dead end. Yeah, I'm pretty lost. Let's just pick this wall. Oh yeah. Oh, delicious corridor. I think I found it. And I'm really glad it's stuck. It's not stuck. Oh, it speaks. It speaks like Ziggy. It's so elegant.
Is
oh, it knows.
Customer?
No, 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 no. I just want to look at your butt some more. How are we meant to take this thing down?
Please
Let's
help.
look again.
I can't find my way out.
I think you should stay exactly where you are. Wow, it's so elegant and naked. You know, horrifying as well. Of course, of course. I just cannot help but keep an eye on a very specific part of that monster's body. Okay. Fight me! It's coming. It's coming. Oh. Oh, look at it. I hope I don't hit a wall. I hit a wall. Oh. Increased health. Okay, here comes the boss battle. Yeah. Oh, I got no stamina. 1 minute.
I've been stuck for so long.
We'll go with the hit and run tactics. What? Dunk! This is my first ever backrooms entity. I don't know if this is a common type. I think from what I've seen of pictures, they're usually black squiggles, but I really love the effect though. Sounds like it's everywhere as well, like there's more of them. Ooh. And I think staring at it as well doesn't do us any harm, but it does freak us out a little bit. Okay. We'll just keep this up. Keep up the boss fight. It'll be nice and fine. It turned daytime, which definitely helped with the fear factor. Donk. I think if we get hit by that though, it's gonna take off such a huge chunk of our health. Donk. We'll just keep pimp slapping it here. Follow your voice. It's gone back to being calm again. Hey! You were fighting us, remember? Hello? I found you. Other way around, my friend. Gonna whack those big, fat, drooping boobs right off your body. I guess the belly's a bit more droopy, but... so freaking weird. It's like a slapping contest. Pimp slap. And again. I'm getting too cocky, I'm gonna get punched in the face. Increased health! Did it need increased health?
Someone there?
Hey, I'm not done with you. Show me your butt. I missed. Come here. Oh. Ah. Alright, I'm off. I'm running. Ah. 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 Oh, how many do you take? Raid boss! Ah. Ah. Oh, I don't know why I feel the need to grunt every time. It just comes naturally. I don't know if it's just bouncing off and he just finds it like a little tickle every time we do it. Like, if it's got increased health, it means it must die eventually, right? It must have health. Oh, I think we might be taking it back to the entrance though, which would be nice. Yeah, let's get it to run around in the actual IKEA. Maybe we'll try that. Come with me. Oh! I definitely want to keep an eye on it if it flops though. Don't lose me, okay? Come on, follow me. Naruto, your way over here, please. How many more are you going to take? I will keep punching if it's the last thing I do. Okay. I need a breather. 1 minute, friend. Maybe we gotta get round and, you know, go for the butt slap.
There's no escape.
We get an opportunity when it does the hit here to kind of curve around it and hit it on its weak spot, which is clearly those cheeks. Increased health. Increased health. No! One hit! It kills us in one! No! Hey, there you are. Let's go again, shall we? Luckily, the save just brought me back here. So we can't get hit at all, but there is an opportunity for us to kill it. So we'll answer the phone, maybe.
Don't run from me.
Ah! I should just start playing like a Lego. Boom. Hitting its belly like a drum. Oh, did you see that swipe damage? Okay, there is no room for error. I've errored. Don't come down. Don't come down. Don't come down. Get away from the corner so then I can get out of this horrible box that we are in. Okay, every man for themselves now. Duh! Slap! Slap!
I think I'm stuck in
Slap! 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 It doesn't know. Or it's enjoying it. One of the two. Slap! 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 Uh-oh. I'm sorry. I slapped one too many times. That's enough slaps. Even it running sounds like it's somewhere else. That's really awesome. Clearly it's got like a distortion field. So you can't exactly tell where the sounds of it are coming from, so it misleads you. Potentially it plays the sound anywhere but where it is, so then when you kind of like, you're trying to avoid the footsteps, you end up actually walking directly into its face. Really clever hunting tactic. If you were able to do that. Interested to know how it would eat people? Looking at it's only got bottom teeth. No! No! I screwed up again! Quick, go to the main menu before it saves. No! It's saved properly! Okay, okay. Well, it's really hard to kill. Put it that way. I don't think I'm going to be able to punch it to death if I couldn't even do it with a sledgehammer. So let's move on to the second item of the day, which is going to be to explore the underground laboratories. So I'm not sure exactly how we're going to do that, whether we can just walk up and push the button, or whether we're going to need some form of access codes that we're going to have to find somehow in this godforsaken facility. Losing all the materials is a bit rough, but it's not too bad. So we need 3 metal, 3 wood, and 3 fabric if we have any hope of at least having a weapon here. Metal, wood, fabric. It's quite basic, very similar to Minecraft basic recipes. Just want a couple of each item type, and then we can get started. While that happens, probably a good opportunity for today's SCP story time, which is, for today, going to be SCP-455. So I picked this one because it actually has some form of similarities in being... It would make a really good video game. Very similar to, back in the Nine-Tailed Fox series, we mentioned there was like a furry theme park. Can't remember the name for it, but that was one of the tales I told. And then, of course, we have the Infinite IKEA here, and it's also quite similar to SCP-087, which I think is the Infinite Stairwell. So SCP-455 is basically a big cargo ship that has wrecked off of the southern coast of Chile. And it's been there for about 30 years now. So it's got a lot of damage in it. It's got a lot of wear and tear. Most of the hull is completely rusted. So I think it's about 85 to 90% of the ship is covered in rust. And it has very visible holes in the side of the hull, which you would think would mean that there's a lot of water ingress inside the actual boat itself. But that is not the case. There seems to be something anomalous going on with the internals of the ship. So people quickly discovered, I guess just by looking inside, that the internal of the ship is actually much bigger than the external kind of dimensions of the ship. And most of this boat is kind of submerged in water now, so there's kind of like the top of it poking out and then the rest of it's submerged underwater, which is why it kind of baffled people that the holes in the ship weren't actually flooding the interior. But once you just take a look inside, you quickly realize that this thing is a lot more creepy and anomalous than it seems. So there was an initial scavenging team that kind of went in to take a look around, see if they could find any survivors, loot all the goodies, things like that. And upon entering, they discovered some interesting rooms inside the ship. First of all, the ship itself is kind of this, internally it's just a kind of random assortment of rooms, halls, and structures. But in particular, of note, some of them were things like a room made out of human teeth. They found engines where instead of the kind of belts that go around the wheels of the engine, they were instead made of tendons, which is pretty grim. They found halls that extended for many, many meters. One of them in particular extended for 600 feet. Way beyond the... Excuse me, sir. Way beyond the dimensions of the boat itself. I think we're going to have to go fisticuffs with this one. You want to go? Just catch my breath and we'll go. What have I got? 4, 4, and 2. One more piece of wood. Yeah, let's have a fist fight. Come here. You want to tell me to leave? I'll tell you to leave. With my fists. Ooh, nice jab. Come here. I'll punch your stupid rooted face any day of the week. If I can't kill a backrooms entity, then I'll take it out on you instead. Yeah. Get out of here. Where were we? Oh yes, disgusting boat. And this kind of like open gym room where inside the gym was kind of steel walls all around it, but those steel walls didn't have necessarily the properties of steel walls. They had the properties of kind of like taffy. So they were very kind of like stretchy and gross. And then of course well, I say of course, it's very common for SCP things to cause hallucinations and visions, and there's no surprises with this one either. So people entering it would see things, hear things that may not necessarily be there, and that would cause them to make decisions that probably aren't the best for them. So that initial kind of scavenging team went in and encountered some of this stuff, and eventually they went missing themselves. So the SCP Foundation sent in a kind of response team to go and find them, and that response team also went missing. So they sent in a third response team to go and find the first response team and the scavenging team, and lo and behold, all except one, I think, went missing due to various things. And very similar to SCP-087, there is a couple of descriptions about the explorations within it. I think this one includes 4 of them, which is very similar to the 4 explorations that you find in SCP-087. And each one kind of describes the experiences of the people that went in there, what the things they saw, the kind of what happened to the survivors that they found, what happened to their teammates, and they're really fascinating reads, actually. I love SCPs like that kind of tease it out due to people's perspectives and gives you a lot of freedom in terms of what you might find in there. I don't think at any point in those explorations is mentioned an entity, but there are loads of references of voices and people disappearing, so you can tailor it to what you believe, whether you think that there would be an entity in such a thing, or whether, you know, it's the ship itself that's causing these hallucinations that eventually cause people to harm themselves. Lots of flexibility in it. But I think it was Rescue Team 1 on their way to go and find the scavenging team that discovered that there is kind of like a time distortion field. So at periods, the time can kind of go a lot faster or a lot slower for the people inside it, or it might take them longer to get from one place to another, but then if they go back and do that same route again, it would take them much shorter time. It's kind of like this weird time fluctuation thing going on in there. And there's often times where they'll be talking back to HQ over the radio, where they will think that they have just kind of ended the conversation and then 30 seconds later reported something else. But HQ will get back to them and be like, where the hell were you? It's been like a week. We haven't heard anything from you. And they were like, what? We were just talking to you 30 seconds ago. Things like that. Screws with your brain. Good opportunity to mention that the escalators, that's the right word, the escalators have received a bit of an update. So they've now got this little ledge. So we don't have to do the awkward suicide jump every time we want to get over it now. We've got this just beautiful, smooth railing, which is nice. Nice little quality of life upgrade. So if the room's up there, then we need to go back this way. We'll probably break through there unless we want to go around. Yeah, I think the best bet is just going to be to break through the wall. So let's do that. So interestingly, it was actually the second exploration, or rescue team, sorry, that ended up going in and were able to find that the second team that went in, the first rescue team, and the first scavenging team were both alive. So the first 2 teams that went in were actually alive, and the third team was able to confirm that. However, when they got there, they were on basically the bottom of the stairs. And this boat itself should technically only really have the space for around about 5 floors. But it turns out that from their perspective, going down into the boat, this thing had about, I don't know, 20, 30 plus floors to it. So kind of like internal distortion madness, basically. And when they got to the bottom, they found that there was this pristine door, which, given the fact that the rest of the ship was completely rusty, was kind of like a bit of an enigma there. But upon going inside that, they found out that the 2 teams were in there and they were kind of huddled together. Most of them looked injured, and a lot of them weren't even conscious at the point. Something had definitely happened to them. But this kind of third log ends where basically they find the team members, and as they approach them, they notice that their team starts to disappear. I think there was about 10 of them. So the guy's kind of looking around, he's watching his team disappear before his eyes, just in the blink of an eye. And no one knows where they go or where they've gone. They just are presumed lost at the moment that they disappear, because there's no point going to try and find them if people are already disappearing in front of your eyes, because there's a good chance that you're going to disappear as well. Take a little pause here, just to see if we need anything to open these doors. And the answer is no. Although the way down looks a little bit precarious. So I'll just finish up the story and then we'll go and do this exploration. And then basically from HQ's perspective, he's kind of radioing the team members who are freaking out. They're like, oh my god, my team are disappearing. I don't know what to do. And then the HQ's like, well, get in touch with me, kind of what's happening down there. And then from their perspective, the reply is something along the lines of, oh my god, HQ contacted us. It's been a week. Hello? And then like another time distortion happens and time goes by incredibly fast. And there's basically no coherence or consistency between the two having a conversation. It's just absolute madness down there. But eventually, I think the team managed to find their way out just by pure coincidence. I think at some point they end up going to this room that has some food in it, but they're instructed specifically not to eat the food just in case it has anomalous properties. And then they basically continue their exploration down, and then they are just mysteriously found paralyzed at the top of the boat. And once they are pulled away from the boat, once they recover from their paralysis, this is probably like 2 out of the 10 members that went down there. They have no recollection of how going down resulted in them appearing in the boat itself. It's very odd, but it's kind of like that cool SCP where there's a lot of kind of weird and wonderful anomalies happening. It's got a cool setting. You've got this kind of underwater Titanic feel to it with a rusty boat. And there's a lot of things that I think you could do with that. So yeah, game developers take note. If you're looking for a game similar to this with crafting, survival elements, bit of anomalous shenanigans going on, things to kind of mess with your mind, the idea of liminal spaces, things like that, this boat could be for you. So yeah, definitely recommend going and checking out SCP-455. And there's another document that has kind of the D-class things, which seems to allude more towards some of the creepier things that happen. But I didn't read that one. Oh my god, oh Jesus. And we're in. So I broke my legs getting in, but we are here. So I think in the full version of this game, the idea is that this is going to be a very active SCP research facility with live experiments going on with some of the members and potentially armed guards or just more aggressive guards that want to kind of get you out of here. On top of that, there will be SCP cells that have other SCPs in that aren't necessarily associated with SCP-3008. Things like SCP-049 and the like. And you as the D-class, I say D-class, we as people who are in SCP-3008 would be able to release those SCPs to cause a containment breach that would then give us a bit more likely chance of getting any goodies that might be lurking down here that would otherwise be protected by the SCP Foundation members. I took a lot of damage on that jump. Not good. So really we're just trying to find anything of significance here. Most of those doors, I don't know if they can be opened by hitting them. Probably. But for now I'm just going to stick to the corridors. See if we can find anything obvious. So that's the stairway up. So we've gone left, now we're going right. Gonna make sure not to fall to my death. And I hope that there's no aggressive entities in here. Or I'll take one hit and then that's me gone. I'll hit this for a bit, see if we can open it. Okay, so I ended up breaking the entire wall instead of the door itself. So there you go. Makes you think you could probably kind of Minecraft your way through the entire wall and go into areas unknown. Potentially even just fall out of the map. I'm not sure if they have a kind of bedrock thing implemented at the moment, but it's nice that you've got that freedom. What the hell is that? This is cool. Use SCP base entrance. I used it. Judging by these chairs, it's almost like this should be like an invisible floor. I'm gonna try jumping on it. Okay, I still don't know if there's... I think there's a floor here. Yes. Invisible floor. And then there's just this underneath it. It's got canisters of something that are being injected into it. And then the writing on the top here. 2675 490 124 48. And then a hatch. Creepy. Now that we've kind of discovered that there is an entity in the back rooms, I'm a little bit wary that there might be something inside of here. I'm hoping that if there is anything, it's going to be more of a humanoid creature, but we will see. Yeah, every time we look at this thing, we can use the base entrance, which is presumably this thing here. And when we activate it, it looks like a light of some description goes off. So whether these are going to be things that are implemented in the future, and they're just kind of placeholders at the moment, that were meant to be covered up, but there's a bit of a bug that's revealing them. Not sure. Pretty cool though. So the Kickstarter showed these panels similar to this, but they had SCP Foundation members kind of watching in them, and inside was more of like a replica of the IKEA store with some of the 3008 instance ones walking around in there, which I think would be very cool to see. Them doing live research on some of the SCPs. Would be even cooler as well as if you came down into here and you were able to get some of the documents that have been written up on some of the SCPs, or even some of the backrooms entities, so you could get a better idea of how to deal with them, how to handle them, whether they have any weaknesses, things like that. So now we've activated enough of them, there's not actually prompting me to open them anymore. Very strange. Both the backrooms and the underground zone are very much just mazes. Once you're in, it's nigh on impossible to get out. You just have to keep going forwards until eventually you hit somewhere that looks like it might be outside again. There's no actual guarantee when we find the entrance anyway that we will find a way out, because I had to drop down to get into here. So I'm not entirely sure how that's going to work, but I think this was the way out. So let's give it a try. Yeah. Okay, let's see if we're going to be able to get out of this. Yeah, this is going to be tricky. Oh, and I've not got a lot of health to work with, but we might be able to do it if we hop on to the banister here. At the risk of just dying. Okay, no. Looks like we're going to have to just try and make the jump. Oh, very tricky. Oh, and I'm gone. Take me out. We crashed the game at the same time. So I think this might be the end of the line. For this save, at least, we will never be able to exit. We'll never be able to gather materials. I have a hammer. It's not the end of the world. But I don't think I can break this type of wall here to get out. Even if I could get over here, we've got the door problem. And the button to get out is from the outside, so... yeah, it's looking pretty grim. Either way, I think that's probably a good place to end it. This was probably a bit of a shorter one, but I just wanted to kind of finish some of the explorations that were teased out from the alpha. So now you've got a good idea of what this game is going to contain. You've got a good idea of what's coming up. What? Is there something down there, or is it the machine that's doing this? See if we can find another one. Yeah. So perhaps these are some form of futuristic generators? Or perhaps there's something more to this. But yes, either way, I think that's probably all we have to discover for this. So stay tuned, because there will be future patches and future developments coming out for this game, and I will be sure to cover every kind of little advancement that we do here. Other than that, I hope you enjoyed it. I hope it's good to get back into the 3008 scene, and we might be able to jump into the other 3008 game as well, which some little birdie may have told me that is back in development, which is insane. So we've now got 2 to explore. Either way, thank you very much for watching, and I will see you all in the next time. So until then,